It'll be all sticky.
Just lick it before you use it. It makes it clean. Blow on it.
City Council, 6 o'clock.
Good evening. I'm Alan Joines, Mayor of Winston-Salem. It's my pleasure to call to order this meeting of the Winston-Salem City Council and ask the City Clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilmember Larson. Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Mundy.
Present.
Councilmember Scipio.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Present.
Councilmember McIntosh.
Here.
And Councilmember Burke.
Here.
Thank you very much. Would you join the City Council and me in a moment of silence? Thank you. Would you join the City Council and me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to recognize our Sergeant in Arms tonight. It's Lieutenant Brian Ashley. Lieutenant, thank you for being with us tonight. Tonight's agenda of the City Council is comprised of a public hearing for the adoption of the new 2023 downtown plan. There are 4 zoning petitions. There's the adoption of the City Council's 2024 meeting schedule, as well as our public comment period. When these public hearings are called, persons in the council chamber will be given an opportunity to speak. If no one wishes to speak, I'll close the public hearing and the City Council will consider the items. If there is opposition to a zoning item, the proponents and opponents will each be given 15 minutes for presentation and then 3 minutes for rebuttal. If no one wishes to speak, I'll close the public hearing and the City Council will consider the item. We're televising this meeting live tonight on TV 13, as well as presenting it on the city's YouTube page, and it will be replayed tomorrow at 9 a.m. and again Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Of course, there are copies of agendas as well as videos of previous meetings are always available online at the city's website, and then just click on the Watch Meetings Online link. So we need to move forward, and I would ask City Clerk to read the first item, please.
Item G1, public hearing on adoption. Nope.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, Mr. Pate. We've got a new wrinkle on our agenda, and I forgot all about it. And my screen went dark before we got there. So we have an item called the City Manager Update, and I recognize our City Manager, Mr. Pat Pate.
Thank you, Mayor, and that's quite all right. Just a couple of quick items tonight. One is just to start to thank all of the participants, organizers, and spectators, including all of the mayor and all of City Council, for coming out to the annual Winston-Salem Holiday Parade and Christmas tree lighting this past Saturday. It was my first parade and tree lighting, and my family and I really enjoyed seeing everybody getting into the holiday spirit in the community. A special thank you in particular I want to make to our marketing and communications, recreation and parks, Department of Transportation, and our police department for executing such a successful experience. And I know almost all of you were there that could be there, or sent a couple of you sent representatives, but it was a good event. I want to remind the council that our Employee Excellence Awards luncheon is going to be at the Benton Convention Center on Tuesday, December 12th. From 11:30 to 1. I think you may not have gotten information yet. You're going to get some specific information, more information about that event, but that's a great time for us to recognize all the excellent staff and the great work that they're doing for the community at that event. The Human Relations Commission wanted me to again remind everyone that they're accepting nominations for the 2024 Martin Luther King Jr. Young Dreamers Award, and they're taking applications from the public through Thursday, December 14th. This award honors 2 young adult leaders that have to be Winston-Salem residents between the ages of 18 and 40 who have made a tangible difference in the lives of those who may have otherwise been overlooked, ignored, or are disadvantaged. It's all in the spirit of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he lived and encouraged others to live. So we encourage you or to let other folks that you know about this to nominate people for that. And then just one preemptive item on later on the council agenda, there is your annual calendar for adoption is out there this year. One of the things that I just wanted to bring to your attention in case you didn't catch it is that we've dropped the designations for each of the 2 meetings. So there's not one that's designated zoning and one designating general government. This is being done to assist the council and the community by providing opportunities for public comments before the committee items come to council on a typical basis, and to provide flexibility in meeting outside application deadlines so that we can have items on the agenda as quickly as possible when they need to be. In general, this will mean that on the meeting after committee meetings, we'll have a zoning items and the public comments. And then on the regular meeting, regular agenda items come up at the next meeting after that. So it, for the most part, we'll flip those. So a regular meeting for the first Monday, committee meetings, and then zoning items, and then a public hearing on the things that happen at the committee, and then they would come to the next meeting. We believe this will provide a better flow for the agenda process and allow time to prepare responses to council and the community concerns or questions that come up before those meetings. And we'll answer more questions about that when we get to that item, if there are some. So no other reports tonight.
Okay,
Mayor.
thank you, Mr. Pate. Sorry I missed you on that. Councilmember Mundy would like to make a quick comment, I believe, before we get started.
On your coattails, and I know you get in trouble when you start naming names, but I wanted to specifically thank Mackenzie Cates Allen and the Winston-Salem ambassadors for taking on a very huge project with the parade, and thank the JCs for their very able management over the last, I'm not sure how many years.
Good. Thank you, Councilmember Mundy. Now we'll go to item G1, Ms. Wayman.
Item G1, public hearing on adoption of the 2023 downtown plan.
Before we go to the public hearing, I'd like to recognize Amy Crum to give us a brief update on this plan. And we also have Jason Thiel, the president of the Downtown Winston-Salem Partnership, as well as Dara Folan, who's with us, who Dara chaired that planning effort as well. Dara, it's good to have you.
All right. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, and members of council. I'm here to talk to you about the 2023 downtown plan. Just a little background on the plan. The current downtown plan was adopted by City Council in August of 2013. Similar to that plan, this new plan will be a 10-year plan as well. And the Downtown Winston-Salem Partnership led the planning process with assistance from Planning and Development Services staff. Specifically, the process was led by the Planning Committee of the Downtown Winston-Salem Partnership with 3 subcommittees, which I'll talk about in a minute. Outreach for the plan included interviews with community leaders, 2 public surveys, 2 in-person and 1 virtual public workshops, community group presentations, as well as utilizing the subcommittee meetings to invite individuals to come to and speak on behalf of a particular topic. The vision that was drafted for the plan is listed above. I won't read it fully, but it's focused on creating and maintaining a vibrant, inclusive, and engaging downtown that embraces creativity, equity, and the pursuit of excellence. Here you'll see a map of the boundary of downtown and the core districts. The core districts in the core area are outlined in red, as you can see there, and the core districts are the ones in color. This follows very closely to our current plan. There have been some changes. Obviously, Industry Hill is recognized. That wasn't in place in 2013. 4th Street is now just simply recognized as 4th Street. Government Center used to be known as the Skyline District. We've also have Stadium View, which is new, and then the East End, which is recognizing the East End Master Plan that came in after the downtown plan was adopted in 2013. So the plan is based upon the topic areas of the 3 subcommittees, which were growth, connectivity, and appearance. And these were the goals and recommendations set forth in the plan have all been sort of laid out to create a walkable, safe, connected, and welcoming community within our downtown. So looking specifically at the 3 subcategories, the first being growth, you can see here listed the various recommendations for the next 10 years, focusing on promoting small business, housing affordability and variety, utilizing our vacant office and vacant spaces, ground floor vacant spaces, growing our food scene, and then supporting new and existing festivals and events. Regarding connectivity, this is centered around improving parking, enhancing the pedestrian experience through pedestrian lighting, enhanced public safety, promotion of micromobility. This would be the scooters and e-bikes and any other new technology that may come our way. enhancing existing parks, and then creating new and exciting entertainment and recreation draws. In the plan, they specifically outline an amphitheater as well as a new concrete skate park. And then lastly, we have appearance. The recommendations are listed. Again, leveraging our architecture and particularly our historic architecture, refining design standards, specifically around sidewalk dining, adding public art, and then just general beautification of our pedestrian experience, and further branding those districts either through public art or banners or things of that nature. Here we have the land use recommendation. It is the exact same land use recommendation from the 2013 plan. The purple areas are recommended for mixed use, which allows for the greatest level of flexibility in development. And then the sort of golden amber color is general residential, recognizing the Holly Avenue neighborhood. So the Downtown Winston-Salem Partnership Board unanimously approved the plan in September 21st. The City County Planning Board held a public hearing on October 12th and unanimously recommended approval of the plan. And this plan did go before the Community Development, Housing, and General Government Committee without comment. And with that, I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Crum? Thank you very much, Ms. Crum. This is a public hearing. No one has signed up to be heard, but I would certainly entertain anyone who would like to make a comment. Mr. Thiel looks like he might be getting ready to get up. If you'd like to make a comment, Mr. Thiel or Mr. Fola. If you would give us your name and address.
Hi, Jason Thiel, 515 North Cherry Street, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, 27101. My job is, as you mentioned, president of the Downtown Partnership, and it's been my pleasure to work on this plan. It's been a long time coming. We do this every 10 years. It's important because it helps us very much in the sense that we have finite resources, and so this helps us bring consensus to the policies and other initiatives that we would like to pursue over the next 10 years. We had a great track record from the 2013 plan to accomplishing those goals thanks to your help, the help of the City Council, the city staff, of the county. There are a lot of great things that we've been able to accomplish. And I think one of the things that I would like to make sure that I would do if I'd be remiss is I'd like to recognize Dara Folan. Dara Folan, a retired executive with R.J. Reynolds for many years. If you could stand up, Dara. We had so many people, including Elizabeth Carlson, who served as the Connectivity Committee Chair. Elizabeth, if you could stand up. There are a number of other people that worked on this. Amy Crum is probably one of the most dedicated professional planners that I've ever worked with. Her and Kirk Erickson really, along with Tiffany White there and the planning board, really did a fantastic job. One of the things that we're very proud of is that professional relationship, working with them for a long time. So I think this is a really collective effort. It's going to take long time, but this is the best in long-range planning for downtown, and I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Thiel. Would anyone else like to be heard on this adoption of the downtown plan? All right, seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. I'd like to recognize Mayor Pro Tem Adams, Chairman of the Community Development, Housing, and General Government.
Yes, Mayor Jones, I move for approval of item G1.
Second. Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilmember McIntosh, and I recognize Councilmember McIntosh.
Thank you. I just want to echo a few of the things that Jason said. Dara Folan was amazing during this process. I mean, these kind of plans can be somewhat like herding cats, and Dara was just really instrumental in first of all, making sure that many people's voices were heard. Amy also went the extra yard to make sure that this was, if you wanted to be involved in this planning process, it was fairly easy to do so. Many different voices were heard, and even though it's a plan, this is not law. We found out during the 2013 plan process that decisions were made that really did help shape and guide development over the last 10 years. This plan is very different because a lot of the things that needed to be done have been done since 2013. So it's more an effort to just capitalize on what's been done well. So I'm very, very pleased with it, and just want to, again, say thank you to Dara and Elizabeth and Amy and Kirk and all the other people that put a tremendous amount of time and effort into this. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? We do have a motion to approve this. All those in favor, please indicate by voting yes, which they already have, and that's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Item G2.
Item G2, public hearing on zoning petition of Richard Hoyt Jones Revocable Trust and Richard Jones, W 3598 from RS9 to RM5S. Property is located on both sides of Teague Road, east of Old Lexington Road, containing approximately 36.20 acres located in the Southeast Ward. Planning Board recommends approval of petition.
Thank you. We will hold a full public hearing on this. For proponents, Brad Cole, and if you would come forward and limit your comments to, well, we've got 15 minutes for the proponents. And if you give us your name and address for the record, please.
David B. or Brad Coe, 582 Saddle Chase Lane, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. We come here with Planning Board, I believe it was unanimous recommendation for approval. We would like to develop this property in an orderly and professional manner for multifamily housing, which we understand is very much needed in the city. Have other projects in the queue. We are experienced developers, local, and we'd like the opportunity to proceed on this property. The property owners are here in support. If you would just raise your hand. And we thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I'll answer any questions the council may have.
Any questions, Mr. Coe? Good. Thank you, Mr. Coe. Anyone else for the proponents? Okay, for the opponents, James Brand.
Good evening, City Council, Mr. Mayor. My name is James Brand. I live at 733 Teague Road, Winston-Salem, 27107. I live on the property immediately to the west of the subject property. And I'd like to address some points. I'm going to use my notes because I'm not much of a public speaker. To give a little perspective on the Planning Board staff report, the dwelling unit density of 2.9 units per 36 acres might be a bit of a fallacy, as they're only developing about 10 acres. Which puts the density closer to 10 to 12 per unit, or per acre. Also, the development of the property as proposed will have a permanent detrimental effect on the quality of life for all of those on the west end of Teague Road. No one living on Teague Road will benefit in any way, currently living. The biggest issue that I have right now is safety and traffic. Adding 200 vehicles per day to the dangerous curve, which is where the development is going to take place, will increase, and this will only increase with the opening of the Northern Beltway at I-74 and Union Cross, which is a direct feed into Teague Road. Will make traffic much more congested and hazardous than it already is. Also, I think the Planning Board staff estimated about 600 trips a day just from this development. The near constant increase in noise will add to the stress already posed by heavy traffic. I'm talking about barking dogs, parties, shouting, that sort of thing, loud music. The rate of crime will also increase, as it always does, with high-density housing. And there's going to be an increase in light pollution, too, which it's already pretty bad in Winston-Salem, but it's in our area to the east of us, that's going to just make the whole sky glow all the time at night. That's not much of an issue, I understand, but it is for me. Specific to my property, the site plan shows a lot of fill being brought in for Graybrier Court, which is a little, I don't know if you have a copy of the plan, site plan? Okay. Graybrier Court is the little spur road off to the west of the development on the north side. To support Graybrier Court and two buildings, buildings 21 and 22, the fill extends all the way to my property line with no buffer, no setback, no green space. That's pretty darn close. It also fails to show any plan to prevent any significant increase in rain runoff from this steep fill onto my property. The plan also shows a stormwater drain with a discharge terminal less than 15 feet from my property line. My property is downhill from this particular point, so 90% of the water coming out of this spot is going to end up on my property. And I think the staff report indicated that the storm drains flow into Fiddler's Creek. According to the plan, they do not. The site plan, they do not. I do have a proposed possible resolution, and that is that they eliminate Graybrier Court Road, which will effectively, they'll lose 4 units. And to relocate the storm drain, the western storm drain, so that it doesn't flow onto my property, possibly flowing into Fiddler's Creek, although that's not going to do much good for Fiddler's Creek, since we're worried about clean waterways. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr.
Any
Brand.
questions?
Anyone else for the opposition? All right, the proponents, you would have 3 minutes if you'd like to comment on the rebuttal.
We do understand that as municipalities grow and development increases, there is almost certainly opposition from people who live in areas which remain somewhat rural, to be quite frank. We do understand that there is potential impact, and we will work closely with engineering, stormwater departments in the county and city to make sure that we do our development properly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coe. Anyone else want to, on the rebuttal? All right, Mr. Brand, would you have anything you want to say on the rebuttal? Okay, thank you. Well, I'll declare the public hearing closed then, and I ask Mr. Murphy to give us the report of the planning board.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. This is a rezoning request, W 3598, to rezone 36.2 acres on both sides of Teague Road, east of Old Lexington Road, from RS9 to RM5S. Here is the subject property shown on the Legacy Growth Management Area Plan map. It's located in the GMA3 Suburban Neighborhoods Growth Management Area, southeast of 52, in between 52 and 109, again, on the north and south side of Teague Road. Here is the subject property highlighted in yellow. Again, you'll notice that it is on both the north and the south side of Teague Road. It does have some floodplain that cuts through the northern portion of the subject property. This is a subject property outlined in yellow on the countywide aerial imagery. Again, you'll notice a mixture of uses. You have some residential, sparsely populated residential single-family zoning. You have some MHS zoning. You have RM12 and RM18 zoning in this area. So quite a mixture of uses in the area. Here is the subject property shown on the South Suburban Area Plan update from 2018. It recognizes and recommends that this be developed at 0 to 8 units per acre, single-family residential. Here is looking west along Teague Road. The northern portion of the development is to the right. The southern portion, of course, would be to the left. This is looking east along Teague Road. The northern portion of the development site is to the left, and the southern portion, the smaller portion of this development project would be on the right or on the south side of Teague Road. This is looking directly south across Teague Road at the southern portion of the development. And where the image is taken from is on that northern portion. Here is the overall site plan. Here is the site plan zoomed in upon. Again, you'll notice these are 4-unit townhome projects, again requesting RM5. You do have a number of units on the north side and a number of units on the south side. There are a couple of common recreation areas shown for both the north side and the south side of the development. This is concentrating more on the northern portion of the development. Mr. Brand lives on this piece of property here. Hopefully you can see my arrow. This is where Mr. Brand lives. Can you see my arrow? I'm sorry. All right, thank you. This is the stub piece or the short road that he was referring to. This is the drainage pipe that comes back to this open area. Note that this line here, this is a 15-foot buffer yard that's required. So this outlet of this pipe is at least 30 feet away from that property line. But the way the topo is, this is essentially a flat space that the drainage will go here. It will then just flow towards the stream, which is in this location here. And of course, all this would be subject to review and approval by stormwater as part of permits if the rezoning is approved. This is looking at the south side. Again, an intersection along Teague Road. This would be the northern portion of the development. This would be the southern portion of the development. Again, just showing additional units and additional active open space in that area. So what the proposed townhomes would look like. Those are the side and rear elevations. The request is consistent with the recommendations of Legacy 2030. The request is consistent with the density recommendations of the South Suburban Area Plan, 0 to 8 units per acre, but it's inconsistent regarding the housing product being proposed because, again, the area plan does recommend single-family residential, whereas this is an attached product. The proposed development is density neutral in context to the area plan recommendations. The actual proposed density of this project is less than 3 units per acre. The request serves as a transitional use between the multifamily uses to the east and the single-family residences to the north, south, and west. This was heard by the Planning Board at their November 9th public hearing. There were 3 speakers in opposition, one of which was Mr. Brand. The opposition did voice concerns related to the impact on traffic, drainage, stormwater, buffering, lighting, and property values. Following the public hearing and discussion, the Planning Board did vote unanimously to recommend approval of this request to City Council. The one other thing that I will say in relation to the staff report is I just call your attention in the staff report to the existing traffic on Teague Road is in, I want to say between 22 and 2,500 trips per day. And the capacity for Teague Road is almost 15,500 trips per day. So even with the addition of these between 500 and 600 trips, there's ample capacity along Teague Road to handle the projected traffic growth as part of this project. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions of Mr. Murphy? Yes, Councilmember McIntosh.
Can you speak to the residents' concerns about light pollution?
As a commercial project, this will be subject to the limitations of the lighting ordinance, and the 0.2 foot candle can't cross over the property line. Now, that doesn't mean there isn't lighting in the area. That will just mean that the lighting can't spill over the property line. So obviously, if you're on your property and you're below grade and you're looking to something that's higher than you, you would perhaps be able to see light, but there should not be any light spilling over onto the property because of a lighting ordinance in the UDO.
We introduced that ordinance, what, about 3 years ago or longer?
But yeah, I was going to say probably about 6 years ago,
Really?
I guess, 17, 18,
Time
roughly.
flies. So anything built before that time would be built to a different standard, most likely, than this project will?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, it sounds like Mr. Brand he had some general concerns, but his concerns dealt around light pollution and also dealt around the buffer yard. I think he said that there was not a buffer yard or a setback adjacent to his property, and what I'm hearing you say is there's a 15-foot buffer yard. If you can just give me a little bit more information about the buffer and how it may affect his property.
The prescribed buffer for residential adjacent to proposed multifamily is a 15-foot type 2 buffer yard, which will be 2 deciduous trees, 12 primary evergreen plants, and 15 supplemental evergreen shrubs every 100 linear feet. So there would be either existing vegetation would have to be retained and supplemented, or there would be a whole new buffer yard that would be planted along that line.
Is it possible to expand that buffer? If the petitioner would agree to such a request.
The expansion would be difficult as far as width goes. They perhaps could agree to do more plantings than what the prescribed standard is, but the width would be difficult because they are tight on space. I can't imagine that they could do a wider buffer. But again, I would have to defer to the petitioner on that.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Coe, would you come up and could you address that thought from Councilmember Taylor?
We would offer no objection to the council approving this contingent upon a more dense planting in the buffer, although I do agree with Mr. Murphy that we cannot easily expand the width in that area. We would readily acquiesce to a denser planting in that area.
And if he'd agree to do that, Mayor, that would satisfy our concerns about.
Yeah. If you would officially agree to do that, for the record, we would.
Yes, sir, I would.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Coe.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Councilmember Mundy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the site plan, other places, the land is much more than will be used. And there's kind of a corner on the far side, the north side, I guess, of Fiddler's Creek that's included in the parcels. Is that piece of land buildable in any way? The reason I ask is, are we cutting that off for future development, maybe coming on for the other side of Fiddler's Creek?
That area is required. I mean, it's not required open space, but it's shown on this plan as open space. And in order for anyone to do anything in the future, it would have to come back and modify this plan. So it would have to come back to the elected officials, i.e. the city council, to do anything with that. In relation to the developable portion of the project, our ordinance allows for you to take credit for all property that you own, and in exchange for some enhanced site plan considerations, you can cluster it in other places on the project. So that's why the overall density of the project is less than 3 units per acre. When you look at the developable property, it probably does approach 8 or 9, but again, that's not inconsistent with what we do in other places all throughout the community.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. City Attorney.
Yes, when you're ready, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members, it might be helpful if we can get some clarity as to what more dense planting means.
Right. Mr. Murphy, can you help us with a little definition of how we might add to the site plan before I recognize Councilmember Taylor for a motion?
Or perhaps the developer or property owner can indicate what he anticipates that will include.
Yeah, Councilmember Clark.
This is a type 2. Is there not a type 3 or 4 barrier?
There is. The problem is the deciduous prescription is the same. The evergreen plants increased by 6, but the evergreen shrubs decreased by 3. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So not everything goes up. So you could probably, again, we're talking about 15 feet of planting width there, so we got to figure out what we can kind of fit within that dimension.
That's not much.
Going much more than those 18 primary evergreen plants is going to get tight. Perhaps you could double that deciduous tree rate and perhaps bump up that supplemental evergreen shrub rate and fit that within. But 15 feet's a narrow space to fit a lot of plantings in.
So what I'm hearing is double the deciduous number, and then on the evergreens, type 3.
You could do 4 deciduous trees, 12 primary evergreen plants, and go up to 20 supplemental evergreen shrubs. Again, I think we would need concurrence from the developer that they would be agreeable to those specific requirements.
Mr. Coe, did you hear those requirements there?
For the record, we will agree to those requirements for the portion of our property which we build upon, not exceeding north past those units where we may in fact count existing vegetation, may not even disturb the trees at all, but the areas on which we have graded and performed activities, we do agree to those increased buffer yard requirements.
All right. Thank you. Murphy, is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Taylor, I think I recognize you for a motion if you're ready, and I think it would be to approve subject to these new conditions.
Yeah, I certainly, Mayor and members of the council, ask that these new conditions be added. The reason why I'm being a stickler on that today is, we've seen this before. Anytime you have rural areas that are start to change, we want to try to be as helpful to the neighbors as we can. We do have a dire need to present housing in our community, particularly in this side of the community, but we want to make the neighbors as comfortable as possible. So I appreciate the petitioner being willing to, number one, do this for the community, but number two, work in cooperation with the neighbors. So with that being said, I move for approval of one, the statement of consistency for approval of this item, and two, W-3598.
Second.
With the additional conditions.
With the additional conditions included.
So motion by Councilmember Taylor, seconded by Councilmember McIntosh. Any discussion, questions? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by voting yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you, Councilmember Taylor. All right, item G3, please.
Item G3, public hearing on zoning petition of Pilgrim Associates 2, Inc., item W3600 from LOS to GOL, and from LOS to RM12L. Properties located on the west side of Pilgrim Court on both sides of Bumgardner Street, containing approximately 7.39 acres located in the Northwest Ward. Planning Board recommends approval of petition.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the council chamber who is opposed to this rezoning? The petitioners here, if there's any questions. Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed and recognize Councilmember McIntosh.
I'm going to make a motion for approval. I move for one, approval of the statement of consistency. Hang on a second. I move for one, the statement of consistency for approval of this item, and two, W-3600.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember McIntosh, second by Councilmember Taylor. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by voting yes, which everybody has, and that's unanimous. Thank you, Councilmember McIntosh. Item G4.
Item G4, public hearing on zoning petition of Pilgrim Associates 2, Inc., item W3601 from LOS and LO to RM12L. Properties located on the north side of West 25th Street, west of Kirkwood Street, containing approximately 3.84 acres, located in the Northwest Ward. Planning Board recommends approval of petition.
Again, is there anyone in the council chamber who is opposed to this rezoning? Petitioner is here for questions. Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed, and again recognize Councilmember McIntosh.
I move for approval of one, statement of consistency for approval of this item, and two, W-3601.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember McIntosh, second by Mayor Pro Tem Adams. Any further discussion? Now, all those in favor, please indicate by voting yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you, Councilmember McIntosh. Item G5.
Item G5, public hearing on zoning petition of Hillcrest Property Development, LLC, W3602, from MUS and HBS to GBS. Properties located on the southwest intersection of South Stratford Road and Hillcrest Center Drive, containing approximately 1.78 acres, located in the Southwest Ward. Planning Board recommends approval of petition.
Thank you. Again, is there anyone in the council chamber who is opposed to this rezoning? The petitioner is here for questions. Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed and recognize Councilmember Mundy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move for approval of one, the statement of consistency for approval of this item, and two, W-3602.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Mundy, seconded by Councilmember Scipio. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor of the motion, vote yes, which you have already, and that's unanimous. Thank you, Councilmember Mundy. Item G6.
Item G6, consideration of City Council's 2024 meeting schedule.
Is there a motion to approve the meeting schedule?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Adams and seconded by Councilmember Taylor. Any discussion? Councilmember Clark.
Could I ask the city clerks to get us a colored copy of that calendar?
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be very helpful. Thank you.
All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by voting yes. Anyone opposed, vote no. And that is unanimous. Thank you very much. And now we'll go to the public comment period, which is the time once per month that the city council and I invite citizens to address us on matters that are germane to city government. When the public comment period is called, each speaker will be given 3 minutes for presentation, and the comment period will be limited to a total of 30 minutes. Is there anyone in the council chamber who would like to be heard during the public comment period? Thank you. I see no one. I'll declare the public comment period closed, and I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Adams, second by Councilmember Mundy for adjournment. All those in favor of the adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. We are adjourned. Thank you.